Welcome all to another class of Hunger Games history. The lesson of today will focus on the events of the 6th annual Hunger Games. This year, collaborations between district partners became more apparent, as seen in the couples from Districts 1 and 2. While not considered fully fledged alliances just yet, this was one of the stepping stones for this phenomenon we know to be so common in later years. Stories about how their children were poisoned the year before spread across the districts, making Dallas's acts the year before vaguely known even to those who did not have access to a television to watch the games. Understandably, the tension between tributes was especially noticeable this year. No one looked for trouble with each other, no one even dared to interact with each other, with the exception of the few who stuck close to their district partner, the only other person they felt they could trust. This was the case for both tributes from District 2, Decius and Marby, who stuck together for the entire time they spent inside the animal pen. Staying in their corner far away from others, the two were eyeing their fellow tributes, whispering words to each other as if they were already working on a plan for the games. Worried that the two could be planning on working together inside the arena, the tributes from District 1 attempted to mimic them, not wanting to stay in District 2's shadow. The couple also started taking mental notes of the tributes they would be facing, trying to come up with a plan. The eyes of the tributes from Districts 1 and 2 scouted their competition, assessing who could be their biggest threat inside the arena. The answer was obvious once their eyes met with Oliver, the male tribute from District 6. Towering at an incredible height of 6'9", the boy easily stood out from everyone else. In addition, his muscles were toned, something very rare to see in a tribute, especially from a district such as 6. Oliver stood in his corner, arms crossed, not having said a single word ever since the ripping. Other tributes wondered how his life was back in 6, and what kind of work the boy had to put up with to allow such physical shape. Others even felt some jealousy, as it was evident that Oliver had recovered from the war well enough to have had access to food. With everyone keeping it to themselves, the night preceding the games was calm, and all 24 tributes arrived to the arena alive. They were escorted by peacekeepers to their starting position, with the bell being heard shortly after. Seeing each other whispering about potential strategy the night before was enough to plant some fear in everyone's heads, leading to a higher number of tributes attempting their luck at the weapon pile. Oliver, from District 6, was the first one arming himself, immediately claiming his first victim once his club hit the head of the male tribute from District 7. The boy had just picked up a blade, barely having any time to realize what hit him. Once the blade was dropped, Oliver stepped on it, preventing other tributes from attempting to take it. The couple from District 1 arrived at the weapon pile from the opposite side, each grabbing an axe. The two were now going after Ismo, the boy from 8, who stood no chance against his bigger threats. Merlot, the girl, had managed to injure Ismo in his leg, making it easy for her district partner Beryl to finish the job. She seemed horrified about what they had just done, but Beryl attempted to cheer her up, as their plan to coordinate attacks worked. He suggests for them to pick the next target, but having difficulty processing what just happened, Merlot convinces him to run away from the fighting, for now. By then, the duo from District 2 had also grabbed a sword each, finding the window to do so while Oliver was distracted with Sinomar, the male tribute from District 10, who attempted to get close. But, instead of trying to fight Oliver, the couple agreed it would be more prudent to go after smaller tributes instead. Together, they eliminated Kira, the girl from District 12, getting further away from the weapon pile as they searched for who to target next. Instead of going after other tributes, Oliver had adopted a different strategy, preventing others from taking a weapon from the pile in the center of the arena. Sinomar kept persisting on getting his hands on a blade, until a strong hit from Oliver's club put an end to it. The District 2 couple now kept other tributes occupied, having managed to bring down the District 4 male and District 7 female, giving Oliver time to grab some of the weapons that were scattered during the fighting, bringing them closer to where he was standing. With no other tributes left around the center of the arena, Decius and Marby, from District 2, crossed eyes with Oliver once more. Each looked at one another for a couple of seconds, waiting to see if anyone would dare to make the first move. Not finding it a risk worth taking, the couple from 2 ends up retreating towards the bleachers, not ready to face such a powerful-looking opponent just yet. Seeing his opponents flee, Oliver sits down. He had successfully managed to keep the weapons away from most tributes, with only 5 others having grabbed a weapon, the couples from Districts 1 and 2, and the girl from District 4. Oliver was not concerned about any of them, not bothering to go after anyone. On the opposite side of the arena, Merlot, from District 1, had curled up in a corner, hyperventilating, while her district partner tried to console her. They almost didn't notice Jamie, the boy from District 9, who had seen Merlot's dropped axe on the floor next to where she was sitting, and attempted to steal it. However, Beryl's reaction time was quick enough to stop him, throwing his own axe in time to hit Jamie and recover the stolen weapon. Georgette, from District 8, was the next tribute falling after being found by the couple from District 2. Georgette had sprained her ankle running away from all the fighting and now attempted to hide in a corner while the pain barely allowed her to move. But with the arena's lack of hiding places, the odds were not in her favor. Seeing how the action had started to die down, the District 2 couple took some time to rest and talk strategy. Despite having hypothesized about the situation the night before, none of what they were going through was easy. Their smaller prey had now scattered by climbing up the bleachers, something the two failed to copy, and those at the ground level were Oliver and the pair from District 1, who they did not feel ready to face just yet. With all remaining tributes isolated in their corners, the game started to drag. The disturbing calmness was only interrupted as the storm began, pouring down heavily on the arena. The water alleviated the tribute's thirst a little, but ended up leaving the place very damp and cold. At the lowest level, where the weapon pile stood, the water began to accumulate. Oliver still didn't bother to move from the place, keeping the weapons under his guard and making sure to grab any that could float away in the flood. Taking advantage of the storm, Lupita, from District 10, attempted a risky and somewhat desperate strategy. She got down from the stands, using the loud noise of the rainfall to mask her steps, as she tried her luck in getting closer to the weapon pile, approaching Oliver from behind. Little by little she crawled, finding herself at a short and dangerous distance from Oliver, who was trying to keep all weapons beneath his feet. She extends her arm, aiming for one of the big knives that Oliver guarded, when suddenly the tall boy turns around, spooking her. Lupita did not even get a chance to stand up and escape, as Oliver's club made sure she stayed down for good. Back in the bleachers, the male tribute from District 12 advanced against Samira, the girl from 4, who had a weapon in hand. Samira's fragile appearance gave the boy the wrong impression, that he could surprise her from behind and forcefully take her weapon, but he was quickly proved wrong as he was met with a precise stab of her trident. Flo, the boy from District 5 who was just in the bleachers above, but concealed by the heavy rain, quickly ran towards the body of the now fallen tribute to take the trident before Samira could do so. However, the girl reacted faster, giving Flo the same fate as the boy from District 12. Suzanne Marby, from District 2, had finally managed to get up the bleachers. Marby had climbed on her partner's shoulders to get up there, proceeding to help him do the same by pulling him up. The two decided to go separate ways, each to one side of the stands as they searched for more victims. Going through the right side of the arena, Decius stumbled upon Nexus, the boy from 3, who was holding his knees anxiously, hoping that the rain would be keeping him hidden. Taking a left, Marby was met with a female tribute from District 5. The remaining tributes who hid in the bleachers started running in the opposite direction from where they heard the screams of the District 3 boy and District 5 girl. Despite the rain not allowing them to properly see it with their own eyes, the loud screams were proof enough that Decius and Marby were now up in the bleachers with them. What those tributes did not expect, however, was how by the southern side of the arena, the District 1 couple was also there, waiting for them to be flushed out, now that Merlot had recovered from her initial shock. Verena, from District 6, attempted to run past the couple, but ended up being grabbed by Merlot, who pushed her down the stands. On the other side, The male tribute from District 11 now found himself having to choose between the axe of Beryl and the sword of Decius, as the latter was getting dangerously close. He hesitated to climb down the slippery stands, giving enough time for Beryl from District 1 to eliminate the boy right there. Having lost his target, Decius went after Electra instead, from District 3, who was also struggling to get down from the bleachers. The remaining tributes, the girls from Districts 4, 9, and 11, had all run back towards the center of the arena, escaping successfully. After Beryl took care of Electra, the pair from District 1 was left alone with the tributes from District 2. Finding it futile to try to escape, they all knew it was time to finally face each other. Their fight unfolded like a dance, one tribute trying to find an opening to attack the other. But once in a situation where each duo had to fight two tributes instead of one, their strategies of one injures, the other kills, were not as applicable when their opponents were actively trying to do the same. The heavy rain obstructing their view did not help, and soon their lack of coordination came to surface, causing Beryl to be the first to fall. His district partner, Merlot, had hesitated to attack, as fear took over her once more. But after seeing Beryl be killed in front of her, the girl threw her weapon in panic, opening a big wound in Marby's abdomen. Focused on the fight, Decius did not immediately notice how gravely hurt Marby was, instead only seeing how his other opponent was now weaponless. His vision is tunneled on the girl, and so he advances towards Merlot, slashing at her with his sword. It is only then, when Marby falls to her knees along with Merlot, that Decius realized how bad the wound actually was, seeing the blood seep through Marby's clothes. She succumbs to her injury shortly after. With 3 great threats out of the competition, and Decius feeling the guilt for what happened to his district partner, the arena was once again quiet, besides the rain that continued to pour. The girls from Districts 9 and 11 found it safe again to climb up the bleachers, now that the area seemed to be free of danger. Samira, the girl from District 4, decided to stay at ground level, where water was accumulating. As for Oliver, he kept his stance pacing around the weapon pile, in the very center of the arena. By the time the storm finally stopped, the sun had already begun to set, officially making the 6 Hunger Games the longest so far. Spotting the girl from District 9 coming back down to drink water from the puddles, Decius decided to go after her before she could climb back up. The girl started running as she spotted Decius, but ended up slipping on the water, allowing him to catch up to her. The girl from District 11, who was also not too far away, started running in fear of Decius coming for her next. By then, sunlight was practically gone, and visibility was again getting lower, not allowing the girl to realize that she was running towards another tribute's direction. Samira, from District 4, could hear the sound of desperate footsteps in the water coming close, allowing her to prepare an attack. She used the sound as a clue to know where to strike her trident, successfully eliminating the girl from the competition. This left 3 tributes to fight for the title: Decius from 2, Samira from 4, and Oliver from 6. Neither Samira nor Decius dared to start a fight at night, unsure if they could be successful when they could barely see who was in front of them. Oliver still refused to move away from the weapon pile. Even if both his opponents were already armed, he knew that he did not have to bother to go after them. Once dawn came and no tribute had moved, it almost felt like Decius and Samira were waiting for each other to take initiative and fight Oliver, hoping that they would get rid of the problem for the other. However, neither seemed interested in attempting to face the boy. Getting tired of the waiting game, Decius decides to go after Samira instead. Seeing the boy come in her direction, Samira got up startled, raising her trident in defense. Oliver had also gotten up, but only to observe the imminent fight between the two. While both tributes were skilled with their weapons, Decius had a certain advantage when it came to strength, allowing him to overpower his opponent and eliminate Samira. It was now time for Decius to face Oliver if he wanted to go back home. The boy took a deep breath, analyzing his opponent's intimidating stance, as Oliver had not shown a single drop of fear regarding the Hunger Games ever since Decius had laid eyes on him at the train station. Despite having many weapons to choose from, Oliver held a simple club, making Decius believe that he could have an advantage in knowing how to use a sword, which seemed far deadlier to him. But once he got close to Oliver, the taller boy wasted no time in showing him his secret weapon. It turned out that Oliver was very good at hand-to-hand combat, managing to disarm Decius in a way that one could only assume it was not his first time in a situation like that. After picking up his club again, Oliver finished the job by hitting Decius right in the head. Oliver, the District 6 giant, was then announced victor of the 6th annual Hunger Games. Oliver was seen as the perfect image of a victor, managing to show no fear from the games, and instead demonstrating his fighting skills. Following his victory, rumors stated that the boy likely knew how to fight like that from being involved in fighting rings back in his district. However, investigations concerning the topic did not lead anywhere. Academy students, do you believe that Oliver was truly unafraid of the games, or that he simply knew not to show any weakness?